Okay, I want to talk about convex and concave curves that you're going to sew and use in a garment. So you can see on the dress that I'm making here, I have these pockets, but they also have this curved trim. In some of the other tutorials, you have seen me stitch these pockets, but I want to show you how to clip the corners so that the fabric lays nice. So first I have the facing for one of the pockets that I haven't sewn yet. And then here is one that I have sewn to the front of the skirt already. You can kind of see the panel here. It's black and white, so it is a little difficult to see the difference. But let's talk about those curves. So first of all, I did a basting stitch on this wider edge because I know when I get to sewing it here, it's going to have to fold in. This is eventually going to turn all the way to the back side and sort of complete the top edge of this pocket. You can kind of see it there. So on this edge, I did a stitch on this one as well. And the reason I do this is one, it's just simply easier to go and iron when your measurement is already there. So this you could do with a chalk, I suppose, but I just did a stitch using my machine, and I didn't do it at 5/8. I did it at 1/2, so that's 1/8 smaller than 5/8. That way, when I fold it all the way around, I just have a little wiggle room for it to cover my other seam. On convex curves, which are the outer curves, this is a concave. So think of like a cave goes in, this curve goes in. If you look at it this way, this is convex, the curve goes out away from, okay? So on this edge here, we are going to clip little V's out. When we get to the concave curve here, we just do clips. Okay, so I'm going to show you examples of that. I like to use these little sharp scissors because they really get in there and work really well. So I clip and clip. And it's basically the opposite of clipping a notch. So you'll see here, there's my notch. I'm going to actually get rid of that because I need it clipped like that. You're going to get as close to the stitching as you can, but don't clip through it. Okay, so as I do that around the curve, what that's going to do is when this gets ironed up, if I didn't do the clips, when I iron this up, it would create this rippling right here, and you can kind of see it with my fingers. But when you put the clips in, those ripples go away because now these V's are touching. And here is the one that I already did. This is the flap that I've sewn on this side. If I fold this back, you can see my clips are already there. And when I went and ironed it, now this lays really flat and those V's are almost touching in most areas. If it's a straight edge, so from here to here, I didn't have to do the clips because it's pretty much flat on that bottom edge, and you can kind of see it here. As soon as the curve starts, I started the clips. And then using my stitch line, and I ironed that back, it sure made it a lot faster and easier. Now this concave edge, if I did not clip this, what happens is I would turn this and iron it, and you can see from this side, there's like this pulling right here. There's these little folds and it won't lay flat because under here, this fabric is being pulled to the point where it can't go anymore. So it starts to ripple. But watch what happens when I do a couple of clips on this curve. So again, on the flat part, I don't need to, but as soon as the curve starts, I'm going to go in here like this, about every 1/2 inch. Sometimes you have to get a little bit closer depending how small the curve is, but this one is about every 1/2 inch. And then right here is pretty flat. Now watch what happens when I turn this. I have no resistance here. It almost lays flat without me even ironing. And on the inside, you can see what happens to the curves. See, these are able to fan out like this to make that fabric lay flat. Now, another technique which I used on this edge where my pocket connects to the skirt, I used pinking shears, which are zigzag scissors. They're kind of cool, like this, to just trim away the excess seam allowance. But then I went in and I did the same V's on the convex curve here. Now this curve here where I just did the clips, I'm going to actually go in with my scissors next and just trim it away. I don't need this much bulk inside my pocket, but those clips let this to be able to turn easily. After that, my next steps will be to get this tucked in here and this laying flat, and that's sort of the inside pocket of my dress.